Good evening, everyone. My name is Landa Jure Morgan, and this is my beautiful wife, Rotunda Morgan.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
Yes, indeed. And you're tuned in to
Living More with the Morgans.
It's Tuesday night. It's a little bit past 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, we on CP time tonight. Whose fault is that?
You.
That's me?
Yours.
Yeah, that's my fault. That's my fault tonight, y'all.
Perfectionist.
I'm a perfectionist, you guys,
yes.
So you have to pardon me if I'm a perfectionist.
That's all good.
But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us
you.
know that you're online. Let us know that you can hear us.
Please.
Let us know that everything is clear. The audio is clear. The visuals are clear. We want you to be able to hear us loud and clear. Let us know. Hit the comments on whatever page you're on. Right now, we're streaming on multiple channels. We're streaming live on Facebook.com/Living More Morgans. That's the official Living More with the Morgans Facebook page. We're also streaming live on my page and my wife's page.
Yes.
And then we're also streaming live on Twitter.
Yes.
All right, so you need to be following us on Twitter, twitter.com/Live More Morgans, right?
Yes.
Live More Morgans. And then, of course, YouTube, all of our YouTube channel subscribers, it's a brand new channel. So we want you to go ahead, go to YouTube, click on subscribe. Now you got to type in Living More with the Morgans.
Yes.
You'll see my wife's beautiful face. You see me chilling with the shades. You know how we do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon so you can get notifications on when we go live. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and let us know that you can hear us. Let us know that everything is coming through loud and clear. And we're going to jump in tonight on some very heavy topics because, you know, there's some things that we just don't like to touch on. Right. And tonight's episode is probably going to be one of those topics where it's going to get kind of funky.
Right.
And it might offend some people. It might hurt some feelings, but that's not the intention.
No.
Right. The intention is not to hurt people's feelings. The intention is not to press anybody's buttons, but what we're here to do is help people live more.
Yes.
Because we're trying to help ourselves live more, right?
Absolutely.
We're not, you know, we ain't got it all figured out either.
Right.
And so with what we do know and what we have experienced, we want to share with you guys so that can help you as well. So I think if I've been led to water and I'm drinking, you know, I can only lead somebody else to some water so they can drink
where
too.
the water is. That's right.
Exactly. And so we want you guys to tune in again, share on your wall, share it, comment.
Please.
You guys, we want to be an interactive channel. This is going to turn into a podcast where we'll be posting this on podcasts throughout the world on different channels. So that is definitely coming soon. But right now you are streaming on either Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And so we want you to invite your peoples, get comfortable. It's Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday.
It's after 8 o'clock. Put the kids to bed or, you know, put them in the back room because we're going to hit some sensitive topics tonight. And this is for mature audience only, please. So if the kids are around, we would ask that you would definitely put them in another room, give them, you know, do they still have Game Boys?
I don't know
little
about
mini
that,
game.
honey. Baby,
Ain't-
you dated
I'm old.
yourself.
Okay, I guess I'm old because I used to have the Game Boy. Or give him the iPad or something. Give him a tablet. Put him some, give him some games and put him in another room because we
Right.
want to go ahead and hit those topics tonight, you guys. And so,
Yes.
thank you again so much for tuning in. Tonight's episode, you guys, the food fight.
The food fight.
The food fight. Now, some people would look at that graphic that we put out, that picture, and thinking that we're actually talking about a fight, right? Because you was looking kind of mean, you was looking kind of like raw with it.
Look, I was intense. I was in the subject
always
matter.
intense,
I'm
'cause-
always intense.
Okay, because you was
Yeah.
looking like you finna beat a brother down up in that picture. But no, we're not talking about an actual fight, you guys, or a physical fight, but we're talking about the fight against food, against things that are blocking the best of us, right? And sometimes that can be our physical health, that can be how we're eating, why we're eating, and what we're eating,
That's
right?
right,
And so
absolutely.
that is the fight of food. And so this episode, that's why we entitled it The Food Fight, because you guys, it is a fight for our lives, really.
Right.
The foods that we're eating, the healthy habits that we have or that we don't have, the diets that we're taking or that we're not taking, all of that is a big factor
Right.
and it's playing a big factor on our lives, our longevity.
Yes.
And we need to take it a lot more seriously than probably have been.
Right.
What do you think about that, honey?
Absolutely. The foods that we eat now, the things that are being produced now, is being produced at a very a large pace and very quick pace now. And so now more than ever, we have to really be careful about what we consume. The foods that we consume, even drinks that we consume. Soda has more sugar in it than you can imagine. You might as well just go get a bag of Imperial pure cane sugar and just drink it, because the sugar content that's in soda is ridiculous, and it's causing so many health issues, and people think that it's not. They don't understand that it is. So our foods now, we have to be careful in what we eat. Fast foods and all of that, it's not healthy for us.
Right. And I don't think we have any excuse now.
We don't have an
not to be
excuse.
educated on what we're putting in our bodies.
Right.
I mean, just about every container of food, every package of food now has the number of calories a
Yes.
serving has. It has the sodium, it has the
Sodium,
carbohydrates,
sugars,
protein,
yes.
sugar, you name it.
Yes.
And so now we have the tools and the resources, and we can make more educated decisions about what it is that
Right.
we're putting in our bodies.
We have to.
But I find that, a lot of us are not. We're still not making healthier choices. And
Because it's easy.
Right.
It's easier to eat. For instance, it's easier to grab a meal at McDonald's or Burger King or KFC. It's easy because you get off work or you at work. You don't have time to make dinner or make lunch and take it to we don't make time,
Right.
should say, to take it to work where we can eat, more healthier. So we grab those things that are quick and something that we can just consume quickly and get back to work or get back to what we were doing.
Right.
So because we do that, that is causing us to have issues in our health. And it also causes other issues as well, honey. And it causes issues with stress. And the reason I say that is because we don't understand that the things that we eat, the way we handle things. When we're eating the wrong foods, our bodies God designed our bodies to be able to function how He created it to. And when we put the right foods in and we eat the right nutritions and we do what is good for our bodies, not only would it help our bodies, our physical body, but our mental,
Right.
our minds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you're definitely right, because it all coincides
It all coincides
with the mind, body, and soul.
That's exactly
And,
right.
And what we're feeding is, and in the faith-based world, in the faith-based community, and I want people to understand that everybody who's tuned in may not be a part of the faith-based community, may not be
Right.
necessarily a Christian or a
Right.
believer. And so, so I say that, and I preface that because we're definitely coming from an angle for as believers and people of faith.
Right.
when we say mind, body, and soul, we know that that's all connected.
It is.
And as believers, we look at ourselves, we look at our bodies as temples,
That's right.
temples that house the Holy Spirit, that house the
Absolutely.
Spirit of God inside of us.
Absolutely. I'm glad
And
you
so
did that.
when, you know, if you walk into somebody's house and you open the door and the first thing you get is this funky smell, right? You can
Right.
kind of make an assessment as to what's going on in that house.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
And so we definitely want to keep our temples clean because that is connected with our soul, it's
It
connected with
is.
our spirit.
It
Our
is.
bodies are connected with everything, right?
Everything.
And so right now, and we have to understand that, like, if something happens to your body, your soul is intact,
Right.
right? If the wrong place in your body gets poked or if it's affected or loses blood or loses oxygen or anything, then your soul is out of here.
Right.
Why? Because your soul is connected to your temple,
is.
to your body.
Right.
And so we want to make a cognizant effort and make better decisions on what we're doing with our bodies, what we're putting in our bodies,
Right.
how we're handling stress, how we're
Right.
handling anxiety. Right now, we're still in the month of September. This is Suicide Prevention Month, right?
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that we're having to deal with mentally
Absolutely.
and physically.
Yes.
And so with this topic tonight, you guys, we want to share this because what we're finding is there are a lot of people that either don't know how to eat good or they're just choosing not to,
Right.
right? And that's a dangerous thing when you choose not to.
Well, you have to realize something, honey. I know for myself, you know, early on and I can say this when I was going through separation and divorce. You know, food was something that I used to self-medicate. Okay,
Right.
and a lot of times we don't understand that there's different reasons people don't eat well. It's not necessary. It's not necessary that they are okay. They just want to eat. Sometimes they do it because they want to mask that pain or what's going on in them. Or sometimes it comes from a healthy environment.
Right.
You know, you saw your grandparents and stuff eat bad, or your parents eat bad, or they eating Burger King, or they're eating all these fast food restaurants and places, and then they saying you eat it. You know, you're just, what you're doing is just taking it and taking it on.
Right.
So what we're trying to say is that a lot of times people are not sitting and saying, oh, okay, I just want to be fat and eat. No, it is a medication. It can be a medication for people to mask the pain. It's just like people who are alcoholics.
Right.
It's just like people that are drug addicts. That's what they use to mask the pain.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, and one of the things that the brother Ronald Davis, what's going on, Chief? Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
He made a great point. He said most people eat what's good to them, not what's good for them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, like you said, a lot of times we're eating things to
As a
medicate,
cover.
to
Absolutely.
sedate the pain,
Absolutely.
to sedate the stress, to
Right.
sedate anxiety, or
Absolutely.
whatever that we're going through. You know, we're using food as that mechanism,
Right.
as to take us away. And like you said, some people are, you know, will do alcohol. Some people will smoke cigarettes.
Right.
Some people will smoke weed or whatever. You know,
right.
whatever is their gateway
Yes.
to numb the pain.
To numb it.
But people are also using food to do that. And here's the thing with food. Food can be the silent killer for so many organs in your body,
It is.
right? We know what drugs can do. We know what prescription drugs can do. We know what alcohol can do. But food can do the same thing. And too much of it, too much of a bad thing,
Too much of a
can
bad thing.
be killer.
It is.
And so, you guys, we really want to hone in on that tonight because it's important, particularly in our community of African Americans and Black people
Right.
across the world and
Right.
people of color.
Right.
And we deal with some of the, you know, and here's the thing. Here's the thing about the medical industry. The medical industry, particularly in America and in the Western society, is dominated by Caucasians, Europeans. So of course they're studying the bodies from their perspective and
Yes.
from their culture. from their ethnic
That's
group.
right. That's right.
So they don't
Yeah.
know a whole lot about the African American body
Yeah.
and the buildup of
The
us,
anatomy,
the
yeah.
anatomy of us,
Yeah.
right? They know that we have strong genes.
Right.
We have the dominant gene. They know that we have dominant body types and so forth. But a lot of times in the medical field, the study is not focused on our body types as African Americans and as black people.
Right.
It just isn't.
Right.
And so we need more black scientists, black doctors, black chemists out there that are studying the makeup, the genetic makeup of our bodies, because we're at a deficit, really.
We are.
We are not the focal point in the medical industry when it
that's
comes
true.
to them studying our bodies.
No, we're
So
not.
they can end up diagnosing us with things that don't pertain to us, are not healing to us and healing to our bodies, right?
Correct.
Because the studies are more so on Caucasians and European and people of European descent, right?
Right.
I say that because also of the foods that we eat in our communities, right?
Right.
For instance, with black folks, how we get down with the fried food, we get
Right.
down with the chicken and the collard greens,
Right.
and that's another thing. And we'll talk about foods and different things, and we'll talk about the why. But again, we have no excuse not to be educated and have the tools and resources of what it is that we're putting in our bodies.
Right. And we have to use those tools now, because we've seen so many people who are diabetic, and people who have heart disease, and people that are having all kind of issues in their bodies, and that's because of a combination of stress, of bad eating, and bad habits.
Right.
Not exercising. It is very important for us to. It goes hand in hand, and so many people saying, well, you're talking about diets. No, I don't like that word. That word was a terrible word to use, because you don't have to diet. Diet means, eating. They thinking you're eating one pea and a couple of leafy green vegetables
Right.
and one piece of meat. No, we're talking about changing the way you look at food, changing the way you prepare food, and changing the foods that you eat. Foods that have shelf life. You know what I mean by shelf life? I see people eat macaroni and cheese. If you're not making the pasta yourself, and you go buy it, that's on the shelf. The pasta's on the shelf. Some of the other foods that are on the shelf that you buy, if you look at the content of that, they have so many preservatives in it, because why? It's shelf life. It's just like eating a Twinkie. We were talking about this the other day. Eating a Twinkie will outlive you. Now you think about that. If you eat a Twinkie and that stays in your stomach, you're not passing that through your body. And what does that cause? That can cause cancer. That can cause all kind of illness in your body. So what we're trying to do is make you more aware of what you eat. Not to diet, but be more aware. And as you're more aware, you will begin to say, okay, I won't eat that. That's not healthy for me.
Right.
I will, make food at home instead of, even if you go to a restaurant, not always getting the high calorie foods, the macaroni and cheese, and I'm looking on IG, as a matter of fact, and people are just going crazy with macaroni and cheese now. It's nothing wrong with eating a little bit of food in that area, but moderation, which means not every day. You
Right.
can't have a slice of cake every day,
Right.
a slice of pie every day.
And that's the thing that we really need to talk about is food portions.
Portion size, right?
Portion size,
Yes.
when we're eating, what
Right.
time of the day
What
we're
time?
eating. Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because we're here in Texas, right? And if you guys are out there and you don't know about Texas, Texas has the motto that everything is bigger in Texas.
It is.
And everything is bigger than Texas,
Yes.
especially the food portions, right? And so that can be a detriment to people's health, right?
Yes.
Because psychologically they're thinking, oh, I can consume this, I can take this in.
Yes.
It's okay for me to
Yes.
eat all of this.
Yeah.
When in actuality, your body can't handle all of that, or
No.
doesn't even want to.
No, the size of your stomach It's not the size of what, you know, sometimes, you know, the older people would say your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Right,
That's
right.
truth. Because the size of your stomach is not the size that can handle, oh, okay, when they say, okay, what is it that they say at McDonald's? What is it when you want a larger portion?
A supersize.
Supersize. Sometimes we think we're hungrier than what we think. We're not. You know, sometimes if you look and if you drink, I always tell people, you know, when I'm coaching people, they say, well, I'm hungry in the middle of the night, you know, get up and drink your glass of water. And you wait a few minutes, that glass of water will kill that hunger. Because you're not really hungry, sometimes you're more thirsty. And so we don't know the difference because why? We've neglected our bodies so much and we've ate the wrong things and we've done the wrong things that our bodies think, oh, okay, and our minds talks to our bodies and says, okay, you're hungry. No, you might be thirsty.
And then it's like when you go to a restaurant, but like I said, here in Texas, and you go in and you see that these portions they give you are humongous, or this burger that they give you is humongous. Your mind, because of how many of us were raised, is that, oh, you're supposed to, before you get up from that table, you need to clean everything off your plate.
Everything.
We were told that as kids, many of us. You know, and that's a black, white, Hispanic, whatever. That's across the board. Is that mama and grandma? You know, I've heard it in the Latino families. Mijo, you're not getting up from that table until until that's done. You know, and the same thing in our community is that, and that's ingrained in us. That's embedded in our thinking. That when we sit down at the table, it's like, yo, I gotta finish this. Because I don't want to be inconsiderate or whatever, not knowing that your body, your stomach really can't take all of that.
And when you sit down, a lot of times, you know, even with grandparents, I know my grandparents and parents were like that. They would pile on more. And you would, you know, you'd be like, okay, I'll try to eat all of it. Instead of saying, okay, wait a minute, let me just get a little bit. Little bit. You know, and eat that, and then if I'm wanting a little bit more, maybe I'll get a little bit more. But we don't do that. But going back to what you said in the African American community, sorry, you guys, is that the reason, a lot of times the reason why our foods are so bad is because, again, when we were brought here in this country, okay, and we went through, you know, slavery and all of that. You know, I remember talking to my grandmother and them, and I remember how they cooked coming up. You know, they weren't offered, you know, from the plantation owner the choice meats. They were offered, or the choice cuts of whatever. They were offered what was left over. So if you're going to eat a pig, they do the pig tails, they give you that. They'll give you the pig feet, they'll give you all of that. They'll give you the intestines. And so what they had to do was what? Make something out of nothing. And so they began to what? They cook like that, and so they passed it on and on. And so they would fry everything, and they would, you know, do all the unhealthy things because that's what they had to work with.
I'm glad you bring that up, and I definitely want to expound on that. You know, our ancestors, like you said, our African ancestors who came here, who were enslaved, like you said, they were forced to eat the bad parts of the animals, the leftover parts. And so, you know, grandma and them, they made meals out of the intestines of the pig, the feet of the pig, the snout or the ears, the snout of the pig or whatever, you know. And so all of the parts that were unhealthy, we had to take, our ancestors had to take and make meals out of them so they could survive. Right?
And feed their children.
And to feed their children. And so, again, that has been passed down to us through generations, where we're eating to survive, and we're scraping together whatever we can to survive. But oftentimes, what we're scraping together, it's still not healthy. And so that's why a lot of times, you know, medically in our bloodlines, in our gene pools, we do have high blood pressure. We do have, as African Americans and people of color, Latinos as well, we do have high blood pressure. We do have diabetes, high cholesterol, diabetes, all these different things that we're struggling with in our communities. Why? Because we had to survive off of what was given us then. And so we've made, we've passed that down to our children. And then It's like as kids, your mom and your dad tells you, hey, you're not getting from that table unless you finish everything.
Right.
But then, and again, after that, what was the reward for finishing everything was probably dessert,
Yes.
you know, some sweets,
Yes.
something sugary or whatever,
Yes.
right? And so the reward was finishing your plate.
Right.
So, and that's in your head, that's in your mind as an adult that, yo, after this, I'm finna hit this pound cake. After
Right.
this, I'm finna get this sakatumi cake or
Right.
whatever, you know, what it is.
Right.
We grew up being rewarded sometimes for the wrong things.
Right. And especially at holidays.
Right.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, all the ham is on the table, you know, all the fatty foods and all the cakes and pies. I grew up with that. I mean, I grew up in the country.
Right.
So everyone, you know, cooked, you know, we weren't going out to eat and all of that. When Thanksgiving and Christmas came, you know, mom and grandma and my aunts, they were in the kitchen. They were preparing their food at their own homes, and we would come together and come to my grandmother's house and we would eat, you know.
Wow.
And so now, like you said earlier, we know now that we can't eat like that anymore.
And food, I love that. Food in our community,
Right.
in the African American community, was a part of the festivities. It was a part of the culture. So like you said, when we got together for family reunions, when we got together for Christmas and Thanksgiving and so forth, you know, we were eating things out of tradition.
Out of tradition.
We were eating things that we knew grandma and papa and them used to love, and they used to cook and mama used to cook, but they weren't always the healthiest choices, right? And so now we're having to look at that and say, which one is more important for us?
Right.
Because here's the thing, food then is, one, it doesn't even taste the same today because of how things are processed, because of how meat is processed, how meat is grown, how animals are fed now.
Right, right.
And so we got to think about that, is that when we want to have that old taste of home cooking and what mama used to do, we got to remember that cows aren't raised the same. Chickens aren't raised the same, right? All that stuff is processed faster because of the population is much more now.
Yeah.
There's much more people now.
Yes.
So these farmers and these industries and all this stuff, they're having to feed more people. So they got to raise those animals up faster.
That's right.
And now you got chickens that look like, you know, that are 50
Like
pounds.
a turkey.
Yeah, like a turkey, and it's a chicken.
Right.
You know why? Because you're trying to feed 5 people out of 1 chicken.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing now. And so we have to be mindful of that, is that how mama and them used to prepare it back in the day when we was kids is not the same as it is today.
Because now when you talk about chickens, you know, they're injecting them with antibiotics and different things so that they can grow faster. So one day they're a little chick, the next week they're a full-grown chicken. Right. And so we have to understand, and that's why a lot of the health issues come even with women. Right. We're having, premature menopause and things like that in our reproductive system. We're having issues with that because of those chickens being injected with all of these hormones and stuff so that they can become bigger because of the population.
And that's the thing, honey. What's so scary, we have no clue of what is in these hormones.
No.
We have no clue of what they're injecting in these animals.
No clue what they're injecting.
And all we're doing is saying, hey, bring it on. Bring it to the table. Make sure it's fried and or grilled or whatever. Right. And we're good to go. And we think that we're good to go. And so you guys that are watching, this is an important topic. I hope you guys are getting something out of this. And we're going to dig into this topic even more tonight. And we may have to continue it because right now we're already 40 minutes after the hour. But I want you guys to really think about it, what it is that we're saying, and share it with people, because share it on your wall with people. This is important because we gotta change some things, right? If we're gonna start living more and start living on a higher level, we gotta change the things in our thinking. We gotta change the things in our mentality. Yeah. We gotta break some of those old traditions, because everything that mama and grandmama and them told us, y'all, is not good.
You know, I'm reminded of a story. a young lady was cooking and everything, and she had a daughter with her, and it was around the Thanksgiving Christmas time, and she had her daughter with her, and she had it was a ham, and she had it in the big container, she was getting ready to put it in the oven. She had put all of the, every garnish on it and everything, and at the end of that ham, she had cut that piece off and set it to the side. And she was like, well, Mom, and her daughter said, well, why did you cut that piece off? She said, I don't know. I cut it off because that's what my mom did. And her mom heard her, and she was in the kitchen with her, and she said, I cut it off because it didn't fit in my container.
So we're doing stuff. We're doing stuff, and we don't even know the backstory as to why we had to do it. And again, our ancestors had to survive off of what was given them. And I think about that. Again, as people of faith, they lived a long time. They lived into their hundreds and stuff.
Yeah.
Why? By grace.
Yeah.
How can I say this? I'm a firm believer that God won't allow a thing to destroy you that you're not aware of. Right? But once you become aware of it, you're responsible for it.
Absolutely.
You're responsible for that knowledge of a thing.
Yeah, you are.
Right? If I go out here on 635 and I know the speed limit is 70, I know it's 70. I see signs that it's 70.
Right.
But then I go out there and I ignore the signs and I'm doing 95 on 635.
Right.
Then if I get pulled over, I have to suffer the consequences of what I knowingly knew.
That's right.
That speed limit was 70.
Right.
And so because we should know better now, and because we have the tools and the resources, because we have the internet, because the labeling is on our foods and different things now, we have to make better decisions and choices of what we're putting in our body.
We do.
And I'll share this, honey, before we take a break here in a minute. I personally had to. Now, you are a person where you're into fitness, you're into health.
Yes.
That's something that even as a kid, you were into athletics and sports and so forth. And so, of course, as an athlete, you have to be conditioned, you have to condition your body and so forth. You have to train, and you have to eat the right foods, the diet, exercise, and so forth. Me as an artist, as a musician, I didn't think about those kinds of things, right? And even as an entrepreneur, as a young entrepreneur, I ate just to be eating. I can remember being in my 20s, and I could stay up till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and jump up and go to Taco Bell and grab me some tacos and some nachos and a soda, and I was good, right? And then turn around and get up in the morning at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and do it all over again, right? And so because I didn't know any better at that time, I didn't know what I was putting in my body. I was just thinking, hey, I got to eat something. I need fuel. I need to get this work done. I need to get this business going. And that's what I did. That's what I put in my body. And so a lot of times we're doing things that, to our own detriment that we don't know.
Right.
But I believe, again, when we don't know, there is a measure of grace that we get, right? But I think once you know, once you come into that understanding, you're responsible for what you know.
And sometimes your body will tell you.
Yes.
Unfortunately. Sometimes your body will tell you that, there's something wrong here. All of those, nights of staying up, eating Taco Bell, eating whatever, you're younger. We forget that, we're going to age. We're going to get older. And what you did in your younger years, your 20s and your teens, your body can't handle when you become an adult, when you get in your 30s, 40s, 50s. And so you have to be more conscious of the things that you put in your body. And you have to be more conscious of the things that you do for yourself, so that it will be more beneficial for you, and instead of things that are not beneficial.
And the thing is, when you're young, you think you're young. You think you're always going to be young. You think you're always going to have that body, right? And that was my thing, because I was just big around when you met me, right? I was skinny and thin, and I always thought, oh, I'll be fine. I remember, it's funny. It was my grandfather. And when I was a kid, I used to literally pray to gain weight, because I was
really?
so skinny. Yes.
Really?
And I used to pray to gain weight. And I was like, God, I need to gain weight. Da, da, da. I'm too skinny, you know. And it was my grandfather who came and told me. He said, you know, he would tell my mom and my parents, oh, don't worry about that boy. He gonna thicken up. You know, he gonna thicken. And I used to eat like peanut butter sandwiches and bananas and stuff, you know, and drink milkshakes and everything just to gain weight. And I couldn't when I was a kid. And it was my grandfather. My grandfather was stocky and short,
Yeah.
right? And so, and it's like all my family and the men on my mom's side are these short, stocky guys.
Yeah.
So as I got older, when I got into like my mid-20s, that's when the weight started coming on.
Yeah.
And so be careful what you pray for, you guys,
Right.
because now I'm having to not only eat the right things and take care of my body, but I'm having to sculpt that weight that I ended up putting on, right? And it wasn't out of eating the right things.
Right.
It was out of eating the wrong things. It was out of internalizing stress
Yes.
and anxiety and trying to do business and trying to get all these things up and going.
Right.
And that was the thing, that was the issue, is that I didn't know any other way.
And see, you talk about your mom's side of the family, like on my mother's side, of the family, the same thing happened. You know, they're heavy chested, okay, on my mother's side of the family, and they're big boned, you know. So I started, as I got older, I started looking at that. I was like, I don't want that. You know, I don't want that for myself because I didn't like the look of that. You know, so I began to be more conscious of how I was looking.
Right.
You know, and yeah, athletics and being in sports and all that helps. But at the same time, I still have to be aware of what I eat and what I put in my body. You know, and because as you age, as you get older, again, you know, I'm in my 50s now. And so, and that's another thing that if we could, this can be a whole segment because like you said earlier, we have to really maybe come back and talk about this. I mean, as you age, your metabolism, you guys, it slows down. So as you age, you know, you start putting on weight. I remember, and I'm being very honest, I remember maybe about a month or two ago, I started seeing a little bit of weight around my tummy
You started
area.
asking me, yeah.
Yeah, and I started asking, he's so frank. I said, babe, do I look like I'm gaining weight? Yeah, you look like you're gaining weight.
Oh,
in
I
your
didn't
chest,
say it like that.
In your stomach.
I
I was
didn't
like,
say it
yes,
like
you
that.
did. No, you said my chest and my bum bum. That's what you said. That's what you told me.
But
And
it's always been thick.
yeah, I know, but I started to see that my body was changing because when you get in your 50s, you begin to put on weight that you're not doing anything wrong, but you have to learn. It's another phase in your life where you have to learn how to eat even better, even more for the age that you are. Yeah.
Right.
So.
And that's a great point. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, one of the things that I'm learning is I can't eat the same that I did in my 20s or my 30s.
Right.
Because like you said, I'm at a different stage physically. I'm at a different stage mentally.
Absolutely.
My mind needs more potent foods.
Yes.
Because I need to think more.
Yes.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm a visionary. I'm a creative. So I need foods that help that nurture that.
That's right.
And so the Taco Bells, the McDonald's, the KFCs, the chicken nuggets, and all that stuff doesn't nurture that. And I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn it the hard way. But here's the thing: learn it and change it.
Yes.
Right? Don't become aware of a thing and then ignore it and be like, oh, okay, no, I don't need to. No, I knew I needed to change. And with the help of you, of course, you know, it was you. And that was tough because, and it wasn't that I was wanting to be hard-headed.
Well, you tell them the story because how many times have I tried to train you?
Oh, many times. Like my wife tried to train me and get me in the gym and to eat and it's like I said, it's not that I didn't want to.
I know.
Let me clear that up and clarify that.
Sure.
It wasn't that I want to, I wasn't ready to.
Right.
Even when
That's
I
it.
thought I was.
Right.
Right. And I've had 2 or 3 trainers since then.
Right.
And I thought, you know, at that time, okay, I'm ready to go in.
Right.
And I would do it a week, 2 weeks, a month or whatever. and then I would fall back into those old habits.
That's right.
And I would pick up those old habits again. Or we would
Right.
go out and I would, I'm behind the computer, I'm working on something, I got some client work to do.
Right.
And I would just say, okay, let me go to Chick-fil-A and grab something.
Yeah.
Or let me go to this fast food joint and let me grab something. And I knew I didn't need that.
Right,
I knew that wasn't the healthiest choice for me.
Right.
But I knew I needed some quick energy.
Yeah.
And so I slipped back and I regressed. And then I started seeing the weight come on.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm getting to the point where my mind is becoming transformed, it's becoming renewed.
Right.
Because I'm starting, when I wake up and I feel good, don't get me wrong, but you feel some things in your body that, that shouldn't be there.
Right.
That shouldn't
Right.
feel like that.
Yeah, age is starting to happen. You're getting older, and your body needs different nourishments and things, and more rest. That's another thing. We have to get more rest. People think that, okay, in my 20s, I can stay up, like you said earlier, you can stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, your body, chronically, you continue to do that, that can cause sleep insomnia,
Right.
that can cause all kind of issues in your body that you'll have to go to the physician and try to get help with. So we have to change everything from our eating to exercise. All of that is very vital, and it is again very vital that we change it, because if we don't, how are we going to be? When we said earlier, the Holy Spirit, how is it going to dwell in our temple? We can't do any work for God on our backs. God needs us to go out. Did Moses lay on his back?
Right.
Was Joshua on his back?
Right.
No, they weren't.
Right.
In order to do the work that God called for them to do, their body had to be healthy.
Right.
They had to have a healthy body and a mind so that God can use them and facilitate through them what he wanted them to do.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I want to take a quick break, and I want to be able to come back and I want to hit on these points, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But we need to come back because this is a strong topic that
It
we need to
is.
definitely finish.
Yes.
And we cannot do this in an hour.
No.
And so there's so much more that we want to dive into.
Yeah.
But you guys, this is part one. We're going to make this part one of the food fight. And we'll come back on next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central. And we're going to finish part two of this discussion, the
That'd
food
be
fight.
great.
And so
Yeah.
you guys who are tuning in, thank you again for tuning in. Share this on your wall. Share this with your people, because these are discussions that we definitely need to have. They need to be candid, they need to be raw, and they need to be upfront.
And because we want to get it together for our children.
Yes.
Because what we learn and what we do for ourselves, we want to pass that good stuff down to them so that they can be able to know how to eat, know how to take care of their bodies, know how to take care of their minds. We want to pass that down. It's enough of passing down the bad stuff.
That's a good
It's
point.
time to pass down the things that are good for us, the things that that will take us into the next dimension of our lives,
Right.
so we can be healthy and
Absolutely.
strong.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, we're going to be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Stay locked in.
Stay locked in.
It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landisheray.
You can't handle the truth.
Landisheray.
Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from. When it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital? before it gets off the ground. From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com. Where can I find a professional logo designer? Wow, nice. Infusion Design Solutions. Visit us online at infusion.com.
All right, you guys, and we're back, and thank you for tuning in to Living More with the Morgans. And we're going to continue our conversation, but I think we're going to come back on next week, next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central, and really finish this out because there's so much more that we want to definitely dive into on this conversation. And so if you're tuning in either for the first time, you're probably tuning in on our Facebook channels and on our official Facebook page for Living More with the Morgans. And that's at Living More Morgans. You can also find us on Twitter, twitter.com/Live More Morgans. And then, of course, on our YouTube channel, our brand new YouTube channel, and you can type in Living More with the Morgans, and you can definitely find us there. Yes. Subscribe, hit that little bell icon. We definitely want to hear from you guys. Yes. And so, in continuing the conversation, babe, it's like there's so much that we definitely want to get into. There's so much that our minds need to absorb in order to change, especially the older that we get, because we tend to hold on to the things of the past and the things that got us through, right? Instead of grasping onto something new that can take us further. Right. That's good. And it's like, I think about the movie The Titanic, and at the end, how the boat was sinking and going down. Yeah. And the captain had become so attached to this boat that he was like, I'm going down with this boat. Yeah. You know, and I understand that he didn't want to be someone who lived and all these other people died. That would have been on his conscience. That would have, you know, that would have been, I guess, blood on his hands to him. It would have been, to him. Yeah. But if he would have thought about it in another way to say, you know what, I lived and I was able to tell my side of the story, and I was able to help other people. Because here's the thing, if he was going to go down in the ship, fine. But I didn't see you helping nobody get out of the ship who wanted to live. He was just holding on. He was just holding on, you know, ready to go down with the ship. I'm like, if you the captain, help folks who want to live, and then you can go back into, you know. Terrible captain. Exactly, terrible captain. I mean, it sounds noble. Yeah. But like, help some folks who want to live first, and then you go in there and hold on to the rail while the boat is going down. You know, that's just my perspective. I'm sorry. You know, and so, you know, but that's the thing, is that we don't want to go down with the boat, and we don't want to take other people with us. And so now that we have the information and the opportunity and the resources to help people, then let's do that. Let's make better decisions. Let's be mindful that there's a generation that's coming behind us that we got to pass this baton to. Yes. You know, and think about it. They're coming in a much faster paced world than we know, than what our parents knew. Absolutely. And so information is coming and going. Food is being processed faster. Right. Fast food joints are springing up all over the country, all over the world, quicker. I mean, now we've traveled and we've gone to Spain, we've gone to Bangkok, we've gone to all these different places, and we see what we see here. We see McDonald's, we see Starbucks, we see KFC. Yes. We're seeing all the places that we grew up eating 20, 30, 40 years ago, we're seeing in other countries now. And they're partaking of some of our bad habits, unfortunately. Yeah. You know, where you look up and you go to Qatar or Egypt, and they chomping on a Whopper.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, y'all don't pick up our bad habits.
Right. I'm
Please don't.
reminded of the YouTube channel that I love to look at time, the tribal people, and they're in Pakistan, and they're introducing them to Western foods,
Right.
and they think, and the things that they say is hilarious, but at the same time, it's hurtful because they're like, oh, the Westerners know how to eat. They eat foods for longevity. They eat food for strength, and what they're giving them is stuff like Whoppers and KFC and things for them to try for the first time that they've never tried. So yeah, you know, it looks as if we're healthy here. We're eating the right things. We lead out, but we're not leading out the right way.
Right. And so you guys, now that we know better, we got to do better.
We have to do better.
We got to do better.
Right.
And I'll share this. The reason why I'm passionate about it now, and I wanted to bring this topic up, and we decided to bring this topic up, is because I too am going through it. And so I don't want anybody out there who's watching to think, oh, well, who is he to tell me this, or they got it all figured out. No. You got people who are walking through this with you. And that's the problem with our society. We look at these celebrities and we look at folks who are on social media and on television, and we just think they got it all figured out, and we emulate them or we envy them, right? We want their life and we want their bodies and we want their lifestyle and we want their money, but we don't know the pain that these people are going through. No. Why? Because they're not sharing it.
No.
A lot of times they're not sharing it until it's gotten to the breaking point, and now they want, and it's on the news.
Right.
And it's been exposed, or now they want to get on Dr. Phil and say, well, yeah, I was going through this and you know, when I was ready to call it quits.
Right.
But had you shared your process while you're in pain, then you're helping somebody else while you're getting the help that you need as well. And so that's the point of this program. That's the point of Living More with the Morgans. It's not the point to figure and say, oh, well, you know, Landa Rotunda got it figured out, because we don't. But it's letting you know that through the process that we're going through in our pain, we're figuring this thing out, and we're getting resources and we're getting healing so that we can pass it on to you. Again, if I'm being led to water and I've been thirsty and I've been parched and I've been dying of thirst, if I found the water, I believe it's my responsibility to tell somebody else where the water is while I'm drinking.
While you're drinking.
Don't let me drink all of it up and get fat and full and then, you know, and say, okay, well, there might be a couple of drops left. Go find the water.
Right.
No, while I'm drinking, while I'm getting nourishment, while I'm getting healing, I'm sharing with you what's working for me. What's helping me, so that ultimately it can help you as well.
Absolutely, and you just said it, everything in a nutshell. This is what we are here to do. You know, I am a personal trainer. I'm certified.
Yes.
You know, and I, you know, there's people out there who, you know, when you're ready. Something you said earlier. Let me piggyback off of. You know, so many times I was trying to train you, but you weren't ready. And I have to say this, until you're ready to make that change, you can have the best trainer, you can have all the tools, everything, until you make your mind up to say, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of the weight, I'm tired of the bad habits, I'm tired of the way I look, you know, externally, the way I feel internally. Until you make your mind up, there's no personal trainer. I can come in all day, I can bark orders to you all day. But you have to say to yourself, I'm ready now to do it.
It's like a spiritual journey.
It's like a spiritual journey.
You can have the best preacher preaching the best sermons to you Sunday after Sunday.
Right.
You can listen to all the tapes and the CDs and the DVDs and Netflix or whatever. You can watch all of the great programming and you can watch TBN and Daystar until you're blue in the face. But until you make the decision, until you say, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm tired of going around this mountain.
That's right.
Until you're ready to say, you know what, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
I deserve more than this. I want to live more.
Yes.
I deserve to live more. I deserve to live longer.
Yes.
I want to see my great grandkids here. Yes. That's what fuels me.
Yeah.
You
That's
dig what I'm
right,
saying?
that's
That really fuels me.
Right.
Is I want to see my great grandkids here,
great-grandkids,
because my grandmother's here, and
Yes.
she's seeing her great grandchildren,
Yes.
and she's still here.
Yes.
You dig? And so
Yeah.
I'm saying the same thing. It's like, Lord, I want that too. I want to see my grandkids and my great grandkids. And God is saying, okay, what you gonna do?
What you going to do?
He's saying, I'm gonna do my part,
Right.
but you've got a part to play in this too.
That's what I wanted to make. That's an excellent point. I wanted to say something
Yeah.
right there. You guys, you can look. You can say, "Oh, okay, I want supernatural weight loss. I want all of this." But guess what? You're not going to get that unless you decide to make a decision to change your habits, your eating, the way you eat, the way you see food, the way you see yourself. And until you do that, there's going to be no supernatural weight loss. It has to be a change of your mind.
Well, here's the
And
thing.
once it changes,
Right.
then you will be able to see. And then God does put his super on your natural.
Right. He puts super on your natural. But here's the thing.
I'm
You
a
may
witness
get
of that.
you may get the supernatural weight
Right.
loss. And you may lose a couple pounds. But if your mentality isn't changed, if your mindset isn't shifted, that
Right.
weight's going to come back on.
What good is it?
And what good was it for
Yeah.
God to do something supernaturally if you got a mind that's still stuck in stinking thinking, where you
Right.
go right back to eating ho-hos and
Yes,
Twinkies and
yes.
bonbons and whatever and
eating all
Skittles
time of day
and
and
eating
night.
any time of day that you want
Right.
to? What's the purpose of God moving in you supernaturally if you're going to go right back to now
the
he's
bad
got to do
habits.
another miracle again?
Right.
And now you're praying, Lord, do it supernatural again. And
Right.
God is like, yo, I mean, the first time wasn't good enough.
Right.
No,
right.
he's doing that so that you can open your mind to make the changes that are necessary so he doesn't have to keep doing that.
That's exactly
Right?
right.
It's like with Moses. I don't want to have to keep telling you about the staff in your hand. I taught you what to do with the staff in the
Right.
wilderness. I taught you what it can do. I
Right.
gave you the authority
Yeah.
to speak to a thing.
Right.
I gave you the authority of what this staff is capable and what it enables you to do. I don't want to have to keep telling you what this staff and what your authority can do, Moses.
Right.
And so what it did is it elevated from a staff in his hand to a word in his mouth. You dig what I'm saying? First it was the staff. God never intended for it to be just the staff.
Right.
God always wanted it to be in his mouth, in his
Right.
authority.
Right.
But he trained him and taught him
Right.
with the staff.
Right.
And once he got aware of, oh, okay, it's really not in the staff.
No.
It's in my words. It's in my
That's
authority.
it. That's it.
It's in my dominion of a thing.
Right. And it's in the way I see that
Right.
thing. So once you begin to speak to that thing and you begin to look at yourself as if I can do this, because the Bible says we're well able. Okay? He's given us everything we need. So he doesn't need to keep doing those type of miracles in that way for you. He's already given you what you need. So in order to eat better, in order to see yourself as not as someone that can't do it, it's too hard, it's too tough.
Right.
Yes, it's hard. It is. I'm a witness. It is. There's days I don't want to get up and go to work out,
Right.
and there's days I want to. Oh, I just want to eat what I want to eat today.
Right.
But there's something that what I had to do is I had to look at myself and go back and look at those old pictures. Do you want to go back to this, being uncomfortable, feeling uncomfortable,
Right.
or do you want better?
Right.
And I want it better. So we have to, like you said earlier, it's what we say. You know, you can speak to it. And then once you speak, see, the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain, right? And God says I've given you authority. That's not for you, for him. That is for you to hear it.
Wow.
That's for you to hear
Right.
it.
Right.
So that you will begin, when you put it in the atmosphere, you'll begin every day, begin to speak that thing. You begin to hear it. And guess what? The wheels in your head begins to turn and you begin to change.
And you start understanding.
Understanding.
And you start seeing the possibilities.
Right.
I can transform.
Yes.
I can be better. You know, and it's funny. What we have to be also aware of what we absorb.
Right.
Right. What we're taking in. And so
Right.
if on our news feeds, when we get up in the morning, we're checking our Facebook and we're checking our news feeds and we're checking Instagram or whatever, and we're looking at negativity, we're looking
Right.
at things that remind us of our past.
Right.
We're looking at, pictures of food, and we're
Right.
salivating and slobbering at the mouth at this cheeseburger with extra chili on it.
Oh yeah.
You're putting
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
you're putting yourself in harm's way.
Because they're not going to stop.
They're not
doing
going to
that.
stop. And their job is not
Not
to
to
stop.
stop.
They're not going to stop feeding you the images and the imagery and the
Right.
visuals of wanting you to want this and to perpetuate this lifestyle.
Right.
You have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, where that doesn't even faze you anymore. That you don't even look at that anymore.
You remember when we were talking about one time we were looking at a Taco Bell commercial, and you said to me, look at all those people eating tacos that on this commercial. All of them were what?
Thin. All of them were skinny.
Look at the commercials, guys.
Yeah. Look at the food commercials,
Yes.
right? And how realistic are the food commercials? When you go in, you see the Taco Bell commercials, and we're not picking on Taco Bell.
No.
But I'm just saying, you look at the food commercials, and everybody's thin.
The fast food, yeah.
And everybody's jovial, and everybody's happy, and they're biting, and they're turning their head to the side, and they're smiling, and they're crunching into stuff. Is that the reality? No. The reality is you got a bunch of people who don't have no business being in those establishments
Right.
eating that food. And
Right.
I had to learn that for me.
Yeah.
I had to learn that, I'm better than this. And I
Yes.
still have, there's times I still fall off. I still fall short. But then I have to be reminded of myself and say, you know what, I got to get back on. I got to
Yeah.
get back up, and I got to get back on.
That's right.
And that's what it's about. It's like, do I want to stay down? Do I want to stay low? Do I want to wallow in, man, I just ate this burger, man, and I know I ain't had no bit. No. I get back up and I say, you know what, okay, man, I got to hit it tomorrow. Right? I got to get back. I got to get this cardio in. I got to get some
Yes.
weights in or whatever.
Yes.
I got to do what I got to do. I got to eat
Yes.
better. And so, you guys, if you're at a position and at a point to where you've kind of, you've fallen off a bit in and being better to yourself,
Being better.
then get back up.
Love yourself.
Love yourself enough to say,
Yes.
yo, I'm not done.
No.
I'm going to get back up.
Right.
Even if you've gotten a negative report, even
Right.
if you've gotten something where the doctor has said, well, hey, we see a trace of this, or we see a little bit of this and this
Right.
and this, let's get up.
Yeah.
Let's get up and say, you know what? Next time you see me, you're not going to see that.
That's right.
Next time I come up in here and get this checkup, you ain't going to
Right.
see that. That's
Right.
going to be gone.
That's
one,
right.
because I don't need to have the staff in my hand anymore. I can speak that thing, number one.
Hey,
Number
I
two,
love that.
I know I have the resources and the tools to make better options and better
Right.
decisions now.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. We can speak that and we can believe that we can do it. I mean, no matter what size you are, no matter what you think about yourself, start speaking positive things.
Right.
Start saying positive things about yourself.
Yeah.
Look at the great things about you.
Right.
The
Right.
good things, and start to look at those things and capitalize on that.
Exactly. And let's infuse, and I want to share this with you guys, and we'll go ahead and wrap up for the evening.
Yes.
Let's infuse some physical fitness back into our lifestyle.
Yes.
We got to get back more active.
Yeah.
And because of the jobs that we work,
Yes.
the jobs of corporate America is not
Right.
forgiving.
Business owners.
Those
we
who are business
Yeah.
owners and entrepreneurs as we
Yes.
are, we need to be more active. We need to
have
get
to
up from
be.
behind the computer.
Yes.
Right? On that lunch break, you guys who work the 9 to 5s in corporate America, get up off that lunch break if you can, or take that 15-minute break. Put some headphones on and walk around the
walk.
building. Get active. Right?
Yes.
Invest in a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, or some kind of
Yes.
apparatus that helps you, count your steps.
That's right. Little changes.
Little changes.
You will see such a significant
Yes.
look when you begin to do that.
Yes.
Just little bit of change, little changes.
And take, like you're saying, take steps.
Take steps.
Don't try to, because that's what I would do. I would try to do
Yes.
everything overnight. I'm
Yeah.
going to do this, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to stop drinking soda, and I'm going to quit cold turkey. No. Take steps.
Yes.
A baby doesn't go from crawling to running.
No.
He takes steps, and sometimes he's going to fall, but you've never seen a baby, when they fall, they might cry, but then they get right back up.
That's
Why?
right.
Because they have the desire to walk and they have the desire to run.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing in your life. And so add that activity, add some physical fitness to your body. where you treat yourself better.
Yeah.
And let's watch our portions of what we eat,
Right.
and especially those who are in the state of Texas, the great state of Texas. Yeah, we do things bigger here, but we don't have to eat bigger.
Right.
We don't have to eat everything that they just pile on our plates.
That's
No,
right.
we can eat in moderation.
That's right.
Right, and we can make better decisions and take better choices. I've decided, you know, for the next, I believe, 15 weeks to the end
Yes.
of the year that I'm not doing any fast food. You know, I don't want to do any processed foods. I don't want to do any fast foods. I don't want to do any sodas,
Right.
or any dark sodas, or anything
Right.
like that. I'm a Dr. Pepper fanatic.
Yeah.
You know, Coke fanatic. And so you guys, and it's tough. It's hard. Because when you eating something, man, and that taste come through your mouth, and you like, man, this will go hard with a Coke right now. This will go federal with a Dr. Pepper. You
Right.
know? But it's like I'm every day I'm taking that step. I'm
Making
taking
a
that baby
conscious
step
decision.
to make that conscious decision to say, you know
Yes.
what? I'm gonna hit this jug of water.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
I used to couldn't stand the taste of water.
Right.
It tastes like fish to me. Now and I have to have it cold, but I love the taste of water now.
Right.
And if I have to go and put, like a Crystal Light or something in
Yeah.
there to make it, to sweeten it up a little bit,
Right.
where it's not a whole bunch of sugar
Right,
in it,
a
not
little
about
bit of flavor.
a little bit of flavor in
Yeah.
it. That makes it better for me
Right.
to consume larger amounts of water.
Absolutely.
So take those baby steps, and then the next thing you know, you'll be drinking water without a sweetener or without something in
Right.
it. But take the steps, you guys. Take the necessary steps that
Yes.
are vital, so that not only can we live longer, but we can live more.
We can live more, a little
We got
bit
so
at a
much more to do.
time. Yes. Don't take the whole bull by the horn. Just do a little bit at a time. Make small changes, and you'll see a significant impact in those small changes.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I'm a witness of it. I've seen my husband go and do it, and I've seen the changes in him, and it works.
Yeah.
So we don't want you guys to think that, oh, okay, I gotta go and just empty my cupboard out right now and just be done with it.
That's
No.
not realistic.
No, it's not realistic.
not
Because
realistic.
what happens is that your mind, just like Landa said earlier, you begin to taste those things, that you just threw out.
Right.
You went to the dumpster, you threw it in there, and you like, oh God, I'm tasting it.
Right.
Just little bit of changes here and there will make a significant impact, and start moving your body.
And I wanna
That is so important.
And I want to say this to the faith-based community before we go, you guys. We need to start having these discussions, period.
Period.
We need to start having these discussions within our churches,
Yes.
within our community meetings,
Yes.
within our conferences. I see a
Yes.
lot of folks doing conferences, and we're talking about the prophetic, and we want people to be prophetic, but your body will be pathetic.
Right.
And God wants us to have it hand in hand,
Right.
where you have your spiritual life is up here, and your body and your physical health is up there.
Absolutely.
I want you to be prosperous in both your health and your body, and
Yes.
in your life, and in
Right.
your spiritual well-being.
Yes.
But if you all holier than thou and you can quote scriptures, what good is that if you're on your back in the bed somewhere,
Right.
at a hospital,
Right.
or you getting IVs, and fluids, pumped through you? What good is that?
Or you are, you lead singer in a choir, and you have to sit down in a
Oh,
chair.
we got to talk about
Or
that.
sit down in
We
seats
gotta
and
go
stuff.
there, y'all.
Right.
We gotta
because
go there.
We have to stop doing this to ourselves.
Right.
And
I'll say this, and I've seen it, is that, and I can remember when I was a kid, I would see choirs and praise teams, and I would see, in different churches, and I mean, they could sing.
Right.
In black folks, we say, you can sing, you can S-A-N-G, sing.
Right.
But I would see people that would be morbidly obese.
Right.
And just totally unhealthy, or like you said, sitting down, having to sing
Yes.
behind the microphone.
Right.
And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yes, you can sing. Yes, you're gifted. Yes, you're anointed. But who's telling you, baby, I need you to be here?
Right. We need you here. For
Who's
the
telling you, I need you here
Right.
more than just for your voice,
Right.
more than just for your gift,
Right.
more than just for your talents or what you can contribute to the
Right.
church
Right.
or making the choir sound good? I need you here for the long run. I need you to be alive for your children, for your grandchildren.
That's right.
Who's telling us this in our communities?
Right.
Who's telling us this in our conferences?
Right. Right.
But we got people who just, who get up there on stage and they can belt out notes and they can sing down heaven, but they're hard of breathing.
Right.
They need a chair to sit down. And it's not me pointing the finger at people. Hear what I'm saying. Hear my heart and hear the love in what I'm saying. It's not me pointing the finger. It's me saying we need to discuss these things because our people need to be empowered for better.
Right.
And if all we're doing is this spiritual stuff where we shouting and we dancing and we speaking in tongues and we prophesying, that's cool. But but we live on this planet, we live on this earth, and if your temple is not secured, if your temple is not clean, then we won't have you as long as we could have.
Right.
And that's more important than you singing down heaven.
That's
more important
vital.
than you prophesying and speaking in tongues.
Because God has so much more for you.
Yes.
So much more.
So much more for you to do. So much
Right.
more for you want to walk your kids down the aisle.
Right.
If you're a man, we need you here.
That's right.
We not just your singing.
Right.
We need you here. We need to see you walk your daughters down the aisle when they get married. We need to see you, help your sons fix on the car.
Right. Right.
Or be there when they graduate from college.
Right.
We need you to be here. So we've got to talk about these things and hit on this a little bit more, particularly in our faith-based communities.
Absolutely, and you're right. We need to have a second discussion on this. Yeah.
Next Tuesday night, you guys,
Next
we're going to
Tuesday.
continue the food fight, part 2.
Yes.
So you guys make sure that you tune in next
Yes.
Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central. What's that, 6 o'clock Pacific time? That's California
Yes.
time, right? Yeah, so all y'all on the West Coast, West Side, tune in 6 o'clock your time.
Yes.
Hit up the YouTube channel, brand new YouTube channel, you guys. Go search for it, Living More with the Morgans. You'll see our beautiful faces there. And then hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification,
Yes.
and let us know that you're being empowered and that you're getting inspired and you're being influenced positively by what you're hearing from us, you guys. We're doing this for y'all.
And for us.
And we're doing it for us because we need to get better and we
Right.
need to live more.
Right.
And there's so much more to live for, you
There's
guys.
so much
There's
more
so
to
much
live
more that
for.
God has for us to do. There's so much more for our families. We got to be here. I plan on being here, man. Like 99 and a half won't do.
I hear that.
99 and a half won't do. I got to see 100.
All right now.
100. A C note. I got to see it, y'all.
C-note.
A C note. And my wife going to be here. I'm going to be fine when I'm 100, too.
You are.
I'm going to be fine, man. I'm
You're
telling you.
already fine, baby.
Oh, appreciate it. You you can get it. But
See.
you're going to get it at 100. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning
Thank
in.
you.
We love you.
We love you so much.
Hit the pages up, subscribe, like, follow, tell a friend about us.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you. Until next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock,
Yes.
y'all have a great week.
Have a great week. Love you guys.